Napoleon, the man who took Europe. He wasn't born into royalty. He didn't inherit a throne. He didn't even belong. Yet within a single generation, one man would make kings kneel, redraw Europe's borders, and change the way the world understands power. This is the story of Napoleon Bonaparte, a boy from nowhere. Napoleon was born on the island of Corsica in 1769, a place freshly taken by France, a land of resentment and rebellion. To mainland France, Corsicans were outsiders. To the French elite, Napoleon was nobody. He spoke French with a heavy accent. He came from a poor, noble family with no influence. He was mocked, isolated, and underestimated. But while others laughed, Napoleon studied. He devoured books on history and warfare. He memorized battles. He imagined himself commanding armies long before he ever held power. France, meanwhile, was falling apart. Revolution and opportunity. The French Revolution shattered the old order. Kings were overthrown. Nobles fled or were executed. Chaos ruled the streets of Paris. For most, this was terrifying. For Napoleon, it was opportunity. The revolution destroyed tradition and replaced it with merit. Talent mattered more than bloodlines. For the first time, someone like Napoleon could rise. He joined the artillery, mastering precision and mathematics. Unlike traditional generals, he understood that war was not about honor, it was about efficiency. And when France needed a leader, Napoleon was ready. The rise of a general in Italy, Napoleon took command of a starving, demoralized army. Within months, everything changed. He moved faster than anyone thought possible. He split his forces, confused his enemies, and struck where they were weakest. His victories weren't accidental, they were calculated. Austria was stunned. Italy collapsed. Europe took notice. Napoleon didn't fight wars the old way. He turned battlefields into puzzles and solved them faster than his enemies could react. His soldiers adored him. He ate with them, marched with them, shared their danger. They didn't just fight for Napoleon, they fought with him. From hero to ruler, Napoleon returned to France as a hero. The government was weak, corrupt, directionless. In 1799, Napoleon seized power in a coup almost bloodless, almost welcomed. France didn't resist. They were tired of chaos. Napoleon promised order. 5 years later, standing inside Notre Dame Cathedral, Napoleon placed the crown on his own head. Not because he believed in divine right, but because he believed power came from ability. France now had an emperor born from revolution. The empire builder Napoleon didn't just conquer with armies. He conquered with systems. He rewrote laws into what became the Napoleonic Code, clear, modern, and efficient. Equality before the law, property rights, careers open to talent. Across Europe, old feudal systems crumbled, but reform came with war. Napoleon's armies marched across the continent. Kingdoms fell, borders disappeared, new nations were created, nationalism ignited, pride rose, resistance followed. Europe began to unite not behind Napoleon, but against him. Too much power empire demands constant victory. Napoleon could not stop. Every peace treaty created new enemies. Every conquest demanded another. Then came the fatal decision. Russia. In 1812, Napoleon invaded with the largest army Europe had ever seen. Hundreds of thousands marched east, confident in victory. But Russia did not fight Napoleon directly. They retreated, burned their own cities, destroyed supplies. Winter arrived. Cold, hunger, and disease killed more soldiers than battle ever had. The once invincible army disintegrated. Napoleon returned to France a changed man. The myth was broken. The fall Europe sensed weakness. Former enemies united into a massive coalition. This time, Napoleon faced not hesitation, but coordination. He fought brilliantly. But brilliance could not replace manpower. Defeated, exiled, forgotten. Then one last return. Napoleon escaped exile and reclaimed power for 100 days. Europe panicked. At Waterloo, everything ended. Rain, mud, mistakes, timing. Napoleon lost. This time, there would be no return. Exile and silence. Napoleon was sent to a remote island in the Atlantic, far from power, far from Europe. There, the man who once commanded millions lived quietly, surrounded by memories. He died in 1821, but his story did not end. Why Napoleon still matters today? Napoleon changed the world in ways still felt today. Modern military academies still study his tactics. Nationalism used to unite and divide spread because of him. Legal systems across continents trace their roots to his reforms, and his life offers a warning. Genius can build empires, but ambition without limits destroys them. Napoleon didn't just rise from nothing. He proved that history can be shaped by one person and undone by the same hand.